Hello everyone, my name is Garrett Gamber, and I want to thank you all so much for subscribing to the channel. It's 3,100 people now, and I keep looking at that number and thinking, my god, that's a lot of people, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. I can't even describe how happy it makes me to know that people are watching the content and enjoying everything. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're not enjoying everything. Maybe there's only one or two things that people actually enjoy, but I mean, the whole point is to build something. Is to build something and is to show people, you know, my interests and to share interests and just have a good time on YouTube. Sorry if my voice is a little bit raspy. I've been recording and laughing, doing a lot of things, and at the same time there may be an illness running through the house, so I'm not entirely certain I am 100% well. But I'm ready for Star Wars coming up this December, and I'm super excited about it. I actually did a review on this new lightsaber that I never actually released because I wasn't very happy about the review. It was really meh, the way I recorded it, and I didn't know as much about the features as I do now, but this is not that video, so don't think it's that video, because it's not. Okay, hi. I had to cough a bit there. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm getting sick. I hope not. That would suck. I think it's just the stress from the holiday. You're often expected to go and meet relatives and things like that, and when you don't want to, you don't want to, or it doesn't work into your daily schedule. In my case, I'm the only nocturnal person? I'm the only nocturnal person in my family, so I'm up all night. I don't live during the daytime, so it's a bit of a struggle to have to go places when everyone else is up. For me, it's not. And just so you know what that means, it's like if you're a day person, staying up well past your bedtime and expected to function normally during the time you'd normally be fast asleep. That's exactly what it is for me. It's the opposite. It's the inverse. But I guess Thanksgiving is a good time to just spend time with people and family, and it's not something I'm used to. Honestly, I'm not used to a lot of these traditional holidays. I like Halloween because it's spooky, and I like candy, and I like the fall. Not such a fan of Thanksgiving because of having to go and meet with people and things like that. Why should I care? That's just who I am. I'm not opposed to the concept of family. I'm not opposed to certain people I really enjoy meeting. I'm just not a very open person. I mean, I'm a social introvert. I am terrified of people. But that's just who I am. That's what I do. And that's why YouTube is so important to me, that I'm able to get things out there and still interact in a way. God given, I would love to go to PAX and probably meet and greet a few people. As awkward as I am, as shy as I am, as terrified as I am, I normally like to be invisible, and I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I mean, we're already at 3,000 subscribers. If even a fraction, if even one person shows up, and I'm in a place like that, it'd be awesome. It really would. But transportation is always an issue. I have a lot of issues in my life, and even as I'm filming this, I know I'm not going to really like what I've filmed and what I've made here. I'm going to look at this footage and I'll be like, man, I hate it. I hate it. But I'm trying new things. I'm getting better at what I do. and I'm trying to be positive about it. A lot of things haven't gone right for me in my life, but I have to say YouTube is the one thing I've consistently been able to put effort into, that I've consistently grown into. And having a fan base as dedicated as you are, having people who care, is just, it means the world. So thank you again. As for a schedule of what we will be having in the coming months, I'm not entirely certain. There were a lot of games I wanted to cover this year that I did not get a chance to cover. In fact, I talk about it a few times here and there, both in these kind of videos where I'm thanking everyone and being like, yeah, great stuff, or I'm depressed as shit. Or in certain of the games I'll reference some of the things, and those things are Bannerlord, Vampire, and the State of Decay 2. Now, State of Decay 2 has been pushed back to 2018 summer, so that's next year. Bannerlord has been crushed into a unknown status. They are working on it, but the way they phrased it was as if the game is not even close to being done. This is heartbreaking. This is very heartbreaking, because they did several expos this year. You know, they've been showing more and more of this game that apparently isn't even remotely ready. I don't believe that it's not even remotely ready. I don't believe that. It looked playable. It looked very playable. What I think is a lot of the systems they wish to implement, they haven't even bothered implementing just yet. They're talking about the custom weapon system and how that physically affects the world. How weapons, weight distribution, length, and all that stuff, even the metals and things that they're made out of, affects every little detail of that combat, which is an amazing system. And if it comes out and it is as truly intricate as they talk about, Bannerlord Mount Blade 2 is going to have the craziest weapon system, craziest character building of any game to date. I'd like to see them do that system with ranged weapons as well, making your own bow, crossbow even, maybe halberds and things like that, maces, just every little thing you could think of, just upgrading it, making it crazy awesome, because not everyone likes to play as a sword character. I like swords personally, but maces, you can't beat the feeling of a mace when you ride by someone on a horse and just whack them in the head. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Now, another game, of course, was Vampire, which was supposed to come out in October, and that got pushed last minute. We learned about this really, really quickly, and really late at the same time. Quickly, as in, as soon as they were aware that they were not going to be releasing it this year, bam, it was all over everywhere. Late, as in, it was scheduled to be released soon. So, you had people who had pre-ordered it, and they were sitting there at Steam just watching the days count down, being like, oh man, I can't wait to play this game. And bam. Now, I'm not like guaranteeing that I'll play Vampire, but it was a game that piqued my interest. Just because you are playing. It's like a watered-down version of an open-world game, because it's not. But it lets you interact with the environment and do all this stuff. You are a vampire. You are a monster, and you can do all this cool stuff and things. It was actually one of the few games within its own genre that interested me. A story-based, action, surreal, immersive experience akin to The Last of Us and Evil Within, which I'm not a fan of that game, but it's a mixture of those things. It's very similar in that respect. It interests me because your character is dead. He dies, raised as a vampire, and he has to figure out this new world. That's a really cool concept for a game. We've always talked about it in movies and books, and a character in a game being that way. Just, my face is itchy, sorry. it's just interesting. I think it's interesting, and I was like looking at it, and then it got delayed till next year. Now they say it's delayed to spring of next year, so there is a potential for me getting it. No guarantees. Bannerlord is definitely on my list. State of Decay, how could it not be on my list? I love State of Decay. I love everything about that game. State of Decay 2 is going to be amazing. It's going to be multiplayer, so expect to see some of my friends pop in. Now, anything recently for December? I'm not sure yet. I just started up Dynasty Warriors again, and I'm enjoying getting back into it, even though it's really rough. It's a harder difficulty, so I'm not really used to that. I'll keep playing it as long as I can possibly play it. Try to finish a campaign at the very least, or rage quit. I don't know. And we'll end up, once we're done with that, I think I'm going to slow down with Skyrim a bit. I love Skyrim. I have a lot of mods that I haven't even shown. I was even tweaking something today, trying to get a certain mod to work. Without the mod working, I was trying to make the mod from scratch. Made a lot of headway, but ultimately it did not come out exactly the way I wanted it to. And the reason I was remaking it was because the previous mod will not function with Skyrim. So I was bringing out my modding skills and attempting to get it to function. It's probably a lot more work than it's worth, and it may only see use on one character, so I'm debating whether or not to even bother continuing with it. As for the Skyrim series itself, I want to slow down. It's no longer October. I'm not saying I made a mistake with Moonlight Tales, because most of you loved it. I'm glad you loved it. Moonlight Tales was literally supposed to be a series based on the progression and evolution of that mod for werewolves, which did not get an update. It was supposed to get an update in October, along with Lupinus. It did not. Then they were talking about like September, and they were talking about, oh, potential for December. We haven't heard anything. The mod makers have either just taken a long break. In the case of the Lupinus mod maker, I don't believe they make many mods, so their personal life might have gotten in the way. They've been really silent. Nothing new on the status of that mod. I'm going to keep a lookout and keep seeing. I wanted to do a Moonlight Tales too, but again, the whole purpose of it was to showcase the mod and being a werewolf and all that stuff. If that doesn't happen, there's no point in doing Moonlight Tales 2. So the 28 Days mod, I think, has gone as a good deal. Not the furthest it could go, but it's definitely had many episodes. I want to calm down with the Skyrim episodes, move away from Skyrim and go back to other games. I was thinking Mountain Blade, and I was also thinking there's a few other games I could select, many of them, actually. We have, there was a game called Ziggurat that I've had, and I haven't recorded any of it, because it's, I don't know, there's not a lot for commentary, it's more reaction play. But also, I want to do something with StarMade, but they're in the process of upgrading the game, so if I were to keep doing something like a big series on it, and then one of these days my stuff isn't compatible, I'd be really upset, because you can spend a long time on StarMade. I made a ship that ate worlds when I first started playing. When I first started playing, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I made this large carrier ship for my friend's ship. So it had a built-in hangar, it had a lot of shields, and he would fly his ship onto my ship, and I would taxi us across the universe. And eventually, we got really wealthy. We ended up finding some player bases, we were able to destroy them, we were able to harvest their goods and become this really strong force, wealthy force of two space engineers of sorts. And I ended up, Draenor wanted to rebuild his ship. It was a very expensive prospect. I kept building onto my ship. I kept the same one, and I kept building it outwards. Eventually, within the course of a year, it became a giant Death Star of sorts. This ship and it was called the Black Omen, named after the Chrono Trigger Black Omen, old game now. I feel weird saying that. It was massive. I was able to eat worlds. Like, not even kidding. The planets, I was able to devour them into the ship. And I would eventually sell the resources as more cash, which just added to the plating and the energy systems and the shields. Black Omen was gigantic. I even nuked a planet that these other people had built their base on. I destroyed it, ships and all, everything. 8 space stations. Somebody built a Star Destroyer. They didn't actually build it because they used a program that allowed you to copy a formula or schematic into a multiplayer game. Because you can actually import your schematics from single player or whatever or other servers. But they did something that took a picture and made it like from a 3D model into the game. And it looked cool, yeah. I cut through that thing like butter because the Star Destroyer had nothing for shields. It was just, it looked like a Star Destroyer. It had like a little shield battery in the back, which was probably the size of like, I want to say, give you a size comparative. A character is about 2 blocks, like in Minecraft, 2 blocks high. So it was probably the size of, I want to say, 15 players on top of each other, both ways. And my shield generator was pretty much roughly a little bit larger than a planet in the game's terms. So I sliced that thing in half and sideways, and I took out everything. It was funny. Yeah, I loved StarMade, and I still do. It's a game that I want to return to at some point, but I gotta find the proper medium to do that. Whether that's eventually going down the road and doing streaming or doing a video series on it, but it needs to get updated first because the update is going to change a lot of the game. And what's the point of starting something when it's just going to get basically just knocked away by a huge new update that affects every little factor about ship management, shielding, powers, because it's a power system update, so it's really technical and interesting, but it's going to mess up a save. That's really what I'm getting at. Anyways, I guess this video has gone on long enough. I always take time to try to talk about upcoming things and my mood. My mood is... It's a little good and a little bad. I'm coming off of a very lengthy depression, and I can't say that I'll be 100%, but very sad. Loneliness gets to me, and things like that. Seeing people commenting on videos, liking, and just joining in a conversation, that means the world to me, so thank you very much. It's just... I'm still inside. I'm struggling. Anyways, like, we have, the words escape me. I'm trying to think of what I was going to say, and I can't. I was going somewhere with this, saying that, yeah, I'm sad, but I'm... yes, okay, now I remember. What doesn't help the depression is what we currently have going on with America when it comes to... This isn't really that political. It's just the net neutrality issue is a very scary prospect. I can't put into enough words of what net neutrality is, pros and cons and all that. What I can say, short and sweet, is that without net neutrality, the internet as you know it right now is going to change for the worse. This is 100% fact. There are a lot of people out there that are misinformed. And when you have governmental control on aspects such as freedom of speech, it always causes a public outcry. Well, imagine if your cable company neither supported your social media or YouTube, or they put a paywall on it. Like, oh, you want to watch YouTube? You have to pay us $30 a month. You can't watch YouTube without it. You're lucky that they do that, because they could just say, we don't like the direction of YouTube, so we're going to block the website. That's what's going to happen with a lot of these companies, AT&T, Time Warner, Charter. It doesn't matter. They're going to do something that they've never been allowed to do, because net neutrality laws allow us to have a free internet. The FCC called it the Internet Freedom Act, which is a lie. The Internet Freedom Act basically kills net neutrality, which is true internet freedom. And I'm a little concerned. I'm just concerned. I'm concerned because a lot of the people I enjoy watching, or a lot of the things I enjoy about the internet, being able to go on Facebook, for instance, not being charged for these services, that's something I need in my life, because I'm poor. I'm quite poor. I've been lucky enough to have a house over my head. I've been lucky enough to have a computer, a camcorder, a tripod. I've been lucky enough to occasionally get a really awesome gift or something that I can use and play around with, and just, I don't know, be normal, I guess, because everyone has something they enjoy. So when I'm being told that the internet will no longer be a place to speak freely, or a place to access web pages or internet freely, that concerns me greatly. And I'm trying so hard to keep this my job, because it is my job. I don't have another job. This is what I do. The small amount of money that I possibly make from advertisements, that's my income. That's my income. So it crushes me when I see a thing like that happen. And if it doesn't affect it too much or whatever, I'm still going to try. I'm going to try doing this. I want to be an entertainer. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I need to do something that is my words to live by. Because if I don't, then there's alternatives that are not good for anyone, least of all me. So I'm here, and I hope net neutrality will be too. And I'm hoping you all continue to join me on this adventure, this crazy adventure. I guess what YouTube really is now is the story of one's life, at least what interests them. So for me, it's video games and being that voice in a room for someone like you. So thank you again for watching this. Thank you for listening to my rambling. I know this is long, it's just me sitting on here. Would you prefer if I tried to swing this around? Probably kill the camera in the process. There's not a lot of room. There's no room to do this here. Oh. I have it on mute because I kind of hear the LED firing off there. I set it to flicker because it's awesome. I'll probably have to put a warning on this video, perhaps. I don't know how flickery that appears. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later.